Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Payton Talbott versus Nick Aguirre. Nick Aguirre is 7-1 as a pro, 27 years old, and he's got, what is that? 1 inch of height. No, he's given up 1 inch of height, but he has 3.5 inches of reach over 25-year-old Payton Talbott, who is 6-0 as a pro. Payton Talbott has 5 TKO victories, just 1 decision. The decision comes in the Contender Series, where he outlasted and outworked Reyes Cortez Jr. And before that, it was all TKOs. He beat this guy, Christian Rivas, with a round 3 TKO. That was where he was proven. I saw a little vulnerability there early on. He was proven to be hittable. Got hit with the same overhand left in round 1 there a bunch of times, and he was taken down pretty easily. But he got up. He threatened with an armbar, actually, Payton Talbott threatened with an armbar, almost got this tap. I think even the commentators thought he would tap, and then he ended up taking over and getting a KO in round 3 with an uppercut, I think. Or no, he knocked him down. I don't fucking know. I saw the fight, but he took over and TKO'd him in round 3. He beat the guy Jimenez by TKO in round 2. That was with a flying knee. That wasn't some big comeback victory, but that was a sweet victory because the guy missed weight. The guy missed weight by like 3 or 4 pounds or whatever, and Payton Talbott made him pay. Payton Talbott is a very talented fighter, a lot more upside than Nick Aguirre, but he's a guy who I think is still developing as a fighter and still has some vulnerabilities that could potentially be exploited in this fight. It's easy to get in on his hips. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to take him down and control him, although I've seen him taken down and controlled. He's managed to take that away from his opponent in every fight and end up winning every fight. But it's easy to get in on his hips at this point because of how he strikes. Here he's fighting Nick Aguirre. Nick Aguirre has not beaten anybody great at all, but he does have 7 victories, 3 by TKO or knockout, 4 by submission. And his 1 loss comes by decision, and that's in the UFC. It was in his debut against Dan Argueta. Dan Argueta, despite his recent setback, I think he's a very good fighter, Dan Argueta. And he was all over Nick Aguirre. And Nick Aguirre survived. Nick Aguirre did take his back at one point in round 1, but that was pretty much it. And it's not like it was the most dominant performance, but nobody could dispute a 30-27 for Dan Argueta. He grounded him in every round. And in the end, I wouldn't say Nick Aguirre looked gassed, maybe a little discouraged. But Dan Argueta definitely did not look gassed. And that was the difference in round 3. But here in this fight, I think Nick Aguirre, he's a guy that has no respect. And he hasn't earned it really at this point. But I like what I've seen from him. I can't tell you one person he's beaten. But I've seen a few of his fights. And of course his defeat to Dan Argueta, and I think there's enough to trust about him in his wrestling. I think he's a good enough wrestler, and he's shown to have a good shot in the few fights I've seen him in, a quick shot. And I do think he could get in on Payton Talbott's hips. So on that alone, I think he's worth a bet. And I have bet on him, his money line at plus 475, and threw a sprinkle on his decision line at plus 1200, which, he hasn't won a decision yet, so it's probably a stupid bet, but stupid odds. So stupid odds for a stupid bet there. And here, Payton Talbott, again, he's got much more upside. If I was forced to give you a pick with a gun to my head, it would be Payton Talbott winning. I've seen him in some bad spots. I've seen him tame those fighters and take over and have much better striking. And I guess that's what I'd expect here. But I'm betting on Nick Aguirre. Nick Aguirre's money line and Nick Aguirre's decision line, a sprinkle, because I just don't think Payton Talbott, with all the hype and the impressive victories, has done enough to warrant being a minus whatever the fuck favorite he is here. So that's how I see this fight. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.